Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the 1885 show, a cool-down episode following Millwall's final day 2-0 win over Oxford United at home. This show is brought to you, as always, in partnership with Small Beer Tap Room, the closest tap room to the den on match days before and after. And getting straight stuck into what we want to talk about today, just stay behind at the end to find out an update on our exclusive giveaway that we've got for you. So don't go away until the end. Joining me, as usual, is panelist Charlie. Charlie, how are you, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. The game was a really good game to watch, and obviously it's been a long season. And to be fair, it's been obviously an unbelievable season to come back from. But it's hard to win and walk away feeling frustrated. But I'm very good, mate. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I've been a little bit worse for wear over the weekend, but I'm okay. I'm travelling up to Hull on Friday. Me and Fred, we're going up there. Swore I'd never go again. Every time I seem to go Hull, I seem to swear I'm never fucking going there again, and I always end up there again. So, but this time it is for a playoff game because Millwall did finish in the playoff places. We finished third. We had 83 points. We only lost 4 games away from home. 18 clean sheets. We won 24 games total. Before we get stuck into the nitty-gritty of the cool down, I mean, what a remarkable season it has been. It's obviously a bit gutting not to, QPR not to be able to do us a favour away at Ipswich to help us up, but to finish 1 point behind second place and with the numbers I've just read out, what's an unbelievable season from us.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have said to me at the start of the season, you would have took it right down to the wire and, been 1 point off, even with the fact of obviously what happened at Leicester and stuff like that, I'd bite your hand off and even tell you, I don't know what you've been drinking. But yeah, it's been a remarkable season, proud of the boys, proud to be a Millwall fan. And even from the outside point of view of, usually I'm getting stick this season regardless. It's like, even like all my workmates, everyone that is kind of around myself, they're all like, I really hope you do it. We want to see you up there this year. And it's been good to not kind of get criticised all the time or walk away feeling like, oh, it's another nothing season. But yeah, it's been unreal.
Yeah, it has felt like a chore in recent years, I've got to be honest, for myself most definitely. You're sitting there in, the stands of just 7,000 people on a Tuesday night getting beat. And it's been tough. There have been some really, really tough times, but we're in a position now, thanks to the Berylson family and to, some shrewd recruitment and some shrewd hiring. We're in a position that regardless of what happens during these playoffs, this is setting us up for this to be a regular occurrence, right? Where we can get after the playoffs, we can make the playoffs and promotion kind of the goal, whereas we've moved the goalposts from the goal is to stay in the division, to prevent ourselves being a yo-yo team. We've done that. Gary Rowett stabilised us very well in the Championship. Very sour towards the end, and then we hit a bit of a wobble, which a lot of clubs do. We're lucky we didn't go down the Watford route, and we hire and fire every week. A couple of managers come in, didn't quite work out, and then we find ourselves in a proper relegation battle where it looked probably destined to go down. And club legend Neil Harris comes back to save the day, and then we end up with Alex Neil, and we go from yo-yo club staying up, fighting relegation to now 3 games away from the Premier League. I mean, it's a real big testament to the way that the club's been run and the way that we've operated over the last sort of 18 to 24 months, mate.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think even you look at the fact of the recent seasons, it's always been a case of you just haven't had the players to get over the line, or as you said, it's been survival rather than, pushing for playoffs. Even this season going forward, if you would have said to me, you're going to sneak in at 6th and you'd, have a chance of playoffs, again, I would have took it. But it's funny because I actually go into the playoffs thinking we're one of the favourites to go into the playoffs. And that's something I would never have thought. I would have thought we would have been a team like a Bristol, or, we would have snuck in there on the last game or last 2 and kind of hoped you got the right opponent. But I don't fear anyone in these playoffs. I think, we have a really good chance of what we've been in an unbelievable season. The players that we have right now, the away form, the home form, has obviously picked back up again. I don't think we're in a position where I'm sitting there thinking, I'm going to be scared of anyone in these playoffs.
No, me neither. And the boys will be back hopefully tomorrow with the warm-up for our first playoff championship game in an extremely long time. But we're here to talk about the cool down. We're here to discuss what happened on Saturday at home to Oxford United. Millwall ran out 2-0 winners, comfortable 2-0 winners, Jai, in a game where we had to do our bit, but we also had to rely on results elsewhere for us to be able to make the promised land on Saturday. It didn't happen, but we did our bit very, very comfortably. Let's get stuck into it then. Let's look at the starting 11. And it was kind of what I predicted it would be on the Oxford warm-up. The only difference was the striker position. But Neil went with the same back five. It was Patterson in goal, Ryan Leonard at right back, Tristan Kramer, and 2026 Player of the Year, Jake Cooper at centre-half, Zach Sturge at left-back. Barry Bannon came into the side alongside Casper Denore, with Camille Negley operating in a sort of advanced 8/10 role, and Aziz out wide, and Ivanovic replaced Coburn up top. I was quite pleased with the lineup. I thought it was very attacking. I thought it was to win the game early and then to rain changes after. Jar. It was the same team I predicted in the warm up. As I said, the only changes, I would have played Langstaff instead of Ivanovic. Just Langstaff coming off of that, that hot strike. You'd probably try and give him a bit of a run. But what were your thoughts on the lineup then? Was you pleased? Was you happy with anything you would have changed?
Yeah, I mean, obviously missing Taylor and Coburn, you are going to look at who's going to be there, and I think the lineup was spot on. I think we were going to be going into that game probably going to have more of the ball. Oxford have nothing to play for. We were obviously chasing, the dream at that point before the game's kicked off. Again, I think the lineup makes perfect sense, and I think you saw that during the game. We dominated. It even got to the point at one point when we were 2-0 up, I was just on my phone. I was bored. It was so easy. Even the players were just passing it around. We knew at that point, obviously, Ipswich weren't going to drop points there. And I think the players kind of just took it easy and even just stopped going for the chances, really. I think it kind of, you saw it in the performance that we done our job early on, which was good. I mean, Femi looked really at it, considering there was reports, the fact he was it could have been, he wasn't 100%. He looked, probably that was one of his best games he's had in recent weeks. And if obviously we can get that, keep going into the playoffs in that form. Same with Negley. Negley ran the show as he has been doing for game on game on game now. And again, we saw the best of Barry Bannon, which is what we've all come to wanted. And we finally saw it yesterday, but the game obviously on Saturday. And, he was remarkable. Some of the passes he was putting in and that little kind of, FIFA-esque for his pre-assist, where he was just kind of rattling the player inside and outside, and obviously dropped the inside ball. It was remarkable, to be fair, from a performance point of view. And I think Alex Neil got, which he does most weeks, and got it right.
Yeah, I think he did, and I think it was the right game for Barry Bannon, and I thought Bannon was absolutely unbelievable. I thought he was unplayable. They couldn't handle him. They couldn't get anywhere near him. It wasn't just his attacking outlet and his retention of the ball and his, getting things going for us. It was his defensive duties as well. He's quick, Barry Bannon. For his age, he's quick, he's fit. He was tracking back. He done really well in defensive situations. He saw the pass that could get us out, right? Get us out from the back with that quick pass into someone who's free. He sees that. We could have gone with Derek. Derek's been, brilliant since he's come in, but we really had to go and win the game today. And I don't think, as was said in the warm-up, I don't think Oxford were going to pose a problem to us where we warranted having a real deep six type of player in there. I think we could have got away with it with Caspar, and we needed to get after him. And I thought Barry was absolutely unbelievable. I thought Camille was unbelievable. We then made a few changes as well, and it was really nice to see, because Alfie Doughty came back into the side, Will Smallbone came back into the side, as did Billy Mitchell. The three of them made way for Casper Denore. Barry Bannon eventually went off, and Femi Aziz and Ballo as well for other players. But we're talking about the three that really can impact us. And it was nice to see them get some minutes in their legs. I thought that they did well when they came on. I thought that they ran about. They got some. They got the blood pumping, shall we say, which is what you want. I thought Billy got involved real early on. When he came on, he was trying to dictate play, get his foot on the ball, and we're going to need him, right, going into Friday's game against Hull. So it was nice to see Neil rain the changes, mate.
Yeah, no, it's always good to have the boys back, and especially at a time of the season now where it's probably going to be a vital, even it's probably going to cause Alex Neil a few headaches of, if Billy's back, you play Derek now, and, especially against the likes of Hull, where it's going to be a physical battle in that midfield, and, you're going to need Billy's legs in there at some point, especially if we do somehow also get to Wembley. It's a wide pitch. It doesn't suit our style of play at all. So you're going to need legs upon legs at Wembley. And, Billy Mitchell's the best at doing that. He's in that midfield. He runs it in terms of, that physical battle. He gives you, obviously, again, having Alfie back is having that creative spark at the back, which Sturge doesn't really give you going forward at certain times in terms of passing. So, again, it's a different outlet to have. And it's an amazing problem to have, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And like you say, look, Alfie does offer us, something different going forward, which is nice to have. We've got options now where we can change the game up for different avenues. We've got Billy who can come in and sort of be a 12th man, really, with his energy and his legs. And you've got Alfie with his delivery, putting some really, really good balls when he came onto the pitch. And Smallbone as well coming back in. Smallbone, probably, I don't really like playing a 10 because I don't think we've got a natural 10 or a proper 10. I don't think, for me, Camille Negley is a 10. I like him deeper. I like him to pick the ball up deeper because he can see things, he can travel. I like Smallbone as a 10. I think he's probably the more natural 10 we have in the team. And if you want to, bring someone on to that can unlock us to try and get a goal late on from that attacking standpoint, Smallbone's going to be that guy. Really liked him as a signing. Let's hope that. But let's be honest, if Smallbone can contribute in a positive way, that sends us up. And I don't care that he's missed 40 games. It'll be these three that matter. It'll be lone successful, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. And again, we know what a player Smallbone can be. And, obviously it's not worked out for him. He's had injuries and whatnot. But, again, the same for on his day, same for Joe Bryan, those type of players who have missed a large chunk of the season, but they all have that kind of, you do feel like they have those moments in them that can change a game.
They do, absolutely. And let's have a look at some of those moments then. We really started on the front foot pretty early. It was early pressure from us. Dano Ballo was getting down that left-hand side so easily. It was cross after cross. Zach Sturge had a shot, it's deflected. And you're just thinking, it might, is it going to be one of those days where we throw everything and nothing happens? Because it wasn't us who had the real first proper opportunity of the game. It was Oxford. That came on the 12th minute. It was a lovely sort of counter-attack from them, get down that right-hand side. And it's a beautiful cross into the box. And Will Lancashire, who's been probably the a bit of a shining light for Oxford, double-digit goals this season on loan from Tottenham, he just spoons it over the bar. And you think, is that a warning sign that, we've got to remember that while we do have to commit and go and win the game, we've got to make sure that we don't let them back in it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Again, like you said, I think at that point it was kind of us hitting on the barn door and not getting any kind of like no joy. And I think we just kept pushing and left ourselves quite open in that moment. And lucky enough, obviously, he's kind of hit it over the bar. And to be fair, from that moment onwards, I think we did see that even Barry and Negley both kind of decided to get the ball deeper rather than kind of picking it up higher up and obviously leaving ourselves susceptible to that counter.
Yeah, you're right. And it was from there on out, that little warning sign, it was all Millwall, because from the 15th minute onwards, we just piled on the pressure. We won 9 corners in the first half. Oxford were forced to just into desperation clearances, right? We was winning the second balls. And ultimately, it was from an Oxford attack where the first goal comes on the first minute. And it's beautiful play, right, out from the back. It's brilliant from Coops, who tends to sort of win the ball. He then takes his man out to that left-hand side. And you think, just clear it, Coops. Just clear it. Just get rid. He doesn't. He plays a nice short ball. I think it's to Ballo, who then plays it into Barry Bannon. And then into Sturge. Sturge slips it to Barry, and Barry just plays this first time superb ball out on that left-hand side to Ballo, who finds Ivanovic. Ivanovic has got some space in front of him, and the space just narrows. And credit to Ivanovic, he sees that, he turns, he protects the ball, he sees Aziz out wide, feeds Aziz out on that right-hand side. And to be fair, if he could have played Ivanovic back in, who found himself some space inside the 18-yard box. He doesn't. He sort of step-overs, ball out on his right foot, smashes it into the top of the net for 1-0. Brilliant team goal, brilliant counter-attacking goal, really fast-paced, clinical passing. And what a finish from Femi Aziz for his first of the day, and a fitting way to cap off what a season he's had, mate. And at that point, it's 1-0 Millwall.
Yeah, no, again, as you said, like the attack came from the back. And yeah, again, with Femi, I feel like it was a very Saka-esque finish where he drives in. You know he's going to go back out. To be fair, he was doing it all game at that point. He never cut in on his left. He was always going on his right. And then the angle he's at, he shouldn't have any right to hit it in the front post, but he has. And again, it's a very Saka-type finish where he would just smash it front post and it goes in. And again, I think it had to be something like that. It was going to be a breakthrough because again, we weren't really getting any clear-cut chances. They were all kind of half chances. So, yeah, I feel like Ivanovic did well in his moment. To be fair, I've said it in the group chat, but I feel like there was only one player on that pitch on Saturday that would walk away a little bit. I didn't feel like he impacted the game as much, but then that's obviously Ivanovic. But in that one moment, he got the assist, and that's all that matters, really.
I thought Ivanovic did what he had to do. I mean, he didn't set the world alight. He didn't have 15 shots. He didn't, but he was in the right position all the time. He was occupying the centre halves. There was a few times he's held the ball up and played a couple in. He got the assist, second half. I thought he was fine as well. I thought he was okay. Yeah. I mean, he's not Josh Coburn.
I think it's just because we've got so used to the work rate of Coburn now.
We
Where
have.
it's just like everything else feels like it's kind of like he gets a lot of in the cold blow. He gets a lot of kind of he's lazy. He doesn't jump. Like even at one point the fans were in the cold blow going woo every time he actually won a header, and it's just like you can see he's trying, but he's not. If you're not going to feed him in terms of like giving him service and you're just going to pump it long, he's not a Coburn type of striker. He's not. He wants it to feed. He wants to play the 1-2s and flick and get around the corner. And you can see that when he does bring it down, he doesn't want to get rid of it. He wants to try and bring it down, get past 1-2 and play those 1-2s with Femi. But I just felt like it wasn't one of those type of games where we obviously used him as much as we could have done.
No, we tend not to really play to his strengths when he's a lone striker. I don't think he's a lone striker. So you can't really be too critical on someone doing something that isn't really their strength. But we did miss Coburn, but he was still effective in when he did have the ball, in my opinion, which was he didn't do anything glaringly wrong. He didn't give the ball away in stupid areas. He didn't, miss a sitter. He wasn't out of position. He pressed. He just did his job without scoring a goal, which is fair enough. People might look at it and say, oh, he was lazy or, he was used. He got a really good assist, and I thought that he led the line okay, and we won the game. He didn't put a massive foot out of line. Sometimes I think it's hard for a player, especially for a striker, if they don't score goals and they're not rattling off 15 shots a game, it's like they've played really, really bad. I think he just did his job. Like I say, he led the line, didn't put us in dangerous situations. He pressed. He obviously got the assist. I thought he did okay. And, you got to understand he's still a kid. He's still learning. Hopefully, he's going to have a big part to play. Well, not undoubtedly, he's going to have a big part to play in these upcoming, what will hopefully be 3 games rather than 2. But he's definitely got a massive part to play. And I just felt the criticism was a little bit unjust. But there we go. Half time, we go in 1-0 down. We already know Ipswich at this point. I think they're 2 or 3-0 up at this point. They're winning the game comfortably. QPR, didn't have any fit strikers, a couple of kids playing. So it was kind of nice that it was over at that point, that they can get in at half time. They sort of understand that, it's probably second spots out of the question, probably, but we still have got a really important second half because it's only 1-0. And at one point, while we was drawing, we was down to 4th, and then you're playing Southampton home and away. So you've got to finish third. You want that second tie at home, in my opinion, and you want to play 6th, right? So the job still isn't done. We come out the second half, no changes, same team, and straight away, mate, we're bang on the front foot again. Bang on the front foot again, because 3 minutes after that, we've put them under so much pressure. It comes from one of our attacks, and Barry Pannon. I mean, he was unbelievable that first half, but he kind of picks the ball up on our left hand side, and he sort of tries to beat the defender, cuts back in, cuts back out, just sends him. Just absolutely says, he goes, okay, if you're going to follow me, I'll just go through you. And he just dances around him like he wasn't even there, and then plays the perfect, I mean, you described it earlier as a sort of pre-assist, a perfect sort of disguised pass into the feet of Thiago Ballo, who's in a really good position, puts a lovely ball across, takes a slight defection, but then there's Femi Aziz again at the back stick for his second right-footed goal of the game, to smash it again into the top of the net, and then it's comfortable from there on out. It's 2-0 Millwall. Third place is probably locked up, but again, what a lovely worked goal from us, which comes from Barry Banham.
Yeah, as I said, he's got a lot of stick in terms of like, oh, he hasn't really impacted games or whatnot. And I think that in its moment, we all knew that Barry's going to have moments in the season when we signed him, and that in itself is. I don't think there's a player in the team that could do what he's done there. And as you said, just dances left, dances like spins, goes right for it, and in the end just goes, all right, I'll just run past you. Yeah, it was just magical to watch. I think that's what we expect from Barry, even though he's like nearly, what was he, 37? Yeah, as you said, that the feet are there. The football brain is still so
Unbelievable,
unbelievably
brain.
there. So it's just like, he knows that even the incisive pass, another player would have got that half space and tried to whip it in that back post. And even he was just like, no, we're going to thread this through. And again, we haven't had that type of pass in a lot of our games in the season where we've kind of pickpocketed in terms of like we just threaded the ball through and kind of created a chance from there. And we don't really score a lot of those kind of goals where we just pass it across and tap it in. So it was nice to see, yeah.
No, that's right, and he was brought in for this type of game, right? I mean, a game where a team's probably going to sit a little bit deeper. You need to get after them. You need to unlock them. He was brought here for these type of games. I've got no doubt that will give Neil a massive problem because you're going to want that. You've got to go and win these games in the playoffs. You can't settle for draws, right?
No.
You can't go away or at Wembley, and settle for a draw. You've got to go and win the game. And I think Barry Bannon will give us a real big advantage or a big leg up in any game in these playoffs to go and win them with his brain, his range of passing, just what he sees, his vision is second to none. It was a fabulous performance. But from here on out, it was plain sailing. Camille Negley, he was slick as ever. He had a lovely slick move on the 55th minute with Ballo again firing wide with a shot. Luke Cundall comes on to the field. He has a few shots. There was a couple of shots in there, but other than that, it wasn't a game after that. It was kind of just business after that, just see the game out. But he did ring the changes, Neil, because Billy Mitchell came on for Casper Denore on the 61st minute, along with Alfie Doughty coming on for Zach Sturge. Luke Cundall came on for Thiano Ballo. And then Will Smallbone came on in the 75th. So the guys had a good half hour. Billy and Alfie especially, and Luke Cundall had a good half hour to come on and impact the game. And I thought they did, mate. I thought, like I said, Billy was really, really good, really energetic. One thing I like about Billy is when he's been out, it doesn't seem like he needs sort of warming up to the game, right? He doesn't need to play all these under-21 games. He just seems to get on the field and he's 100 mile an hour. I don't know whether that contributes to his injuries or not, but it's certainly pleasing to see that he can do that because he came on, he was everywhere. He was on the ball, he was putting passes through, winning tackles. He looked really, really fit. That was surprising to me. Alfie Doughty was exactly the same. And it was really good that they got a good solid half hour under their belt leading into Friday.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said, we've always said it about Billy. He's not the most technical on the ball. But what he will give you is he'll run through he'll run through a brick wall for you, and that's what, as you said, like his energy levels, his running is what you miss in that midfield. And again, we're same with Alfie. He's Millwall through. And obviously his passing range and his kind of his footballing brain is obviously really, really high. So it's good to get him back fit. Can you get Alfie in? There's probably, you've got Sturge, who's playing unbelievable at the moment. I only see Alfie kind of coming in for those last 20 minutes, maybe if we are kind of needing that one moment, like we probably did on Saturday. And then, and obviously with Will, he's going to give you. So
yeah, no, exactly that. From there on out, it was a resounding victory. And the match stats tell the same story. Let's take a look at the match stats. Millwall had 66% possession. It's got to be one of the highest possessions we've had this season. So Oxford's 33.5. An XG of 1.91 for Millwall, 0.91 for Oxford. We had 21 shots in the game, 8 on target. Oxford had 5 shots in the game, 1 on target. We had 47 touches inside the opponent's box to Oxford's 8, and of course the double-digit corners that we went into. Normally you look at the match stats, mate, and you think, does that really tell the story of the game? It absolutely did, didn't it? Them stats I've just read out there.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think the only one I'd probably disagree with is the XG, but I think people will say you can't really disagree with it. But I feel like the Cundall chance, he could have probably scored that, the volley when he smashed it pretty much dead center.
Quite a good chance as well.
Yeah, Ivanovic had that. and the free kick, which got a deflection from the wall, but I reckon that was probably going on target as well. So yeah, the other one I could probably say we probably should have scored more is, I think Alex Neil even said that. He said the only disappointment was that we didn't score more, but
Yeah,
can't
I
really be
mean, I'll just
disappointed
look
from
at
that.
it as did you win the game and was it comfortable? The stats say it was comfortable. The scoreline says it was comfortable, and also the eye test says it was comfortable. And from there on out, we ran out 2-0 victors. It was really nice as well to see. I mean, we won't talk about pitch invasions and stuff like that, but it was really nice to see at the end of the game, Ida with Marku walk round the pitch and clap the Millwall fans. And what was even more pleasing is that he got it back as well. We got a really good applause back to hasn't found his feet at Millwall, but I wouldn't say he hasn't tried. I think he's give us some good moments. I think back to Borough away, etc. I thought Stoke home was exceptional as well. So he's been here for a few years now, and it's once a lion, always a lion in that sense, regardless of the impact that you had here. And it was nice to see him get a good reception.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, first of all, I think we got over a mil for him, which is, good enough. And then also, the fact that he got the bollocks to come round by himself, and obviously, he didn't just stand there in the middle or clap, he went the whole way round through all three stands. And, again, as you said, once a lion, always a lion. He was never for a want of trying. I feel like when he was here, he always it was just always his end of production at the end. It was just, he'd beat 3-4 man. You're like, wow, get on your feet. And then he'd spoon it out every time. Yeah, he was one of them players where he gets you off your feet and then just never seemed to have that end of product. But yeah, he's always tried, and I'm glad he got his little roses at the end.
Yeah, and good luck to him, whatever the future may hold for Mako, whether that's with Oxford in League One. It might, in my opinion, I think he'll light League One up. And I think he'll be a real big asset for Oxford in League One. I just think that it's probably better suited to the pace that he has and the sort of strength that he has as well. And good luck to him. It was nice to see that. And then we moved on to the awards at the end of the game. Everyone got their flowers, apart from Jake Cooper. If you haven't seen it yet, Jake Cooper did not he wasn't able to accept his 2026 Player of the Year award in front of the fans because he had to shoot off for a family emergency. But everything, by all accounts, Max McLennan put a message out replying to a fan saying that everything is okay, and hopefully we'll be able to do that at the home game prior to kick-off against Hull City. So whatever the situation is, we wish Coops well, we wish the situation well, but we're glad that it is good news, and we're glad that he's, it's not going to keep him away from captaining us, hopefully, to the Premier League. But that being said, Char, it is a playoff place that we occupy. We finish third. We go away to Hull City. If we want to make Wembley, we have to get through Hull. They beat us at our place. We beat them at their place, both the same scoreline. We was up there for the away leg. I'm going up there for the away leg on Friday night. It's going to be a really, really tough test, but one that Alex Neil has said we're going to attack.
Yeah, I mean, at this point of the playoffs, you can't afford to not. I feel like it can be over. We saw it last year, I believe. I think it was Bristol. First leg, they were done.
Yeah.
5-1, it was done. There was no point in coming to the second leg. I feel the same with Hull. I feel like a draw or a win up there, it puts us in an unbelievable position for the second leg. And, even from when we was there the last time, and, the game actually didn't reflect a 3-1, but we walked out with a 3-1. And again, it's going to be difficult. Aren't a bad side. They've picked up again with form, but you can see that they're not the team we played when we did play them at 3-1. They've had a few, obviously, defeats since then. And I think they've kind of just snuck in. And I think they're probably the ones you probably would have wanted to play rather than Wrexham. At least you don't have to play against the storyline and everyone kind of, praising what would have been and it would have took away from last season. And yeah, I feel confident, especially going since the last time we went there, we won 3-1. I feel like we can get a job done up there and come back to the Den and have the place absolutely rocking.
Yeah. And it will be rocking. And look, we're going to go there full of confidence because, like I said, we won 24 games this season, 18 clean sheets. I lost 4 away from home, I believe. It's remarkable. 83 points, the highest points total ever for this club at this level. It's been an incredible season. It's been, it's what a time to be a Millwall fan. It's going to be absolutely outstanding. So with that being said, though, we still need to finish, and I think it might be a bit of a whitewash across the board for every Millwall fan, to be honest, because we're going to now take our look at the man of the match and our honourable mention. I'll go first for this one, Jar. My man of the match is Barry Bannon. I just think he was exceptional. He won the sponsors man of the match vote, which have been questionable in the past. I think that they got this one absolutely right. I think it was, a no-brainer. Barry Bannon was my man of the match. He was instrumental in both goals, the pre-assist for both goals, as you like to say it. And he just made us tick. He got us up the field. He retained possession. He made key passes. Defensively, he done his job as well. Brilliant from Barry Bannon. Honourable mentions. Again, I'm going to go with Camille Negley for the same reason. I thought Negley was outstanding again. It just seems to be business as usual for Negley, right? He drops a 9.5 out of 10, and it's like, well, it's just what he does. But you still got to call it out. And obviously Femi Aziz, because Femi absolutely had. I mean, that was one of the most torturous displays I've seen from a left back in a long, long time. Femi absolutely tortured him to the point where he was playing with him. He tried to Rabona and stuff like, he was just having his way with him. It was very, very easy for Femi Aziz, but he makes it look easy because he's so good and he's been unbelievable. I think it's 19 goal contributions this season? Or 17, something like that. Look, he's been absolutely unbelievable, and he missed 13 games. So they're my two honourable mentions, Femi Aziz and Camille Negley. But my man of the match, it had to be Barry Bannon. He was exceptional. What about yourself?
No, I agree. I think it's got to go to Barry for all the things you mentioned before. Even for one thing that we haven't mentioned about, I think in the first half, there was one where he chased the winger the whole way down.
Yeah, all the way back.
He couldn't catch him, fair enough to him, but you didn't expect him to. I thought he's going to drop off at least and pass it off. But he didn't. He kept going and kept going and kept going. And the work rate you saw again on the ball, he's unmatched in terms of what he can do. And yeah, he was just unbelievable. I think again, even during the lap of honour, I think there was only one name I actually heard the fans from Cobra singing at the end, and it was Barry. He was in front of the goal taking pictures with his wife and kids. I think even Zach Sturge's family, for some reason, were wearing Barry Bannon shirts. So I don't understand what was going on. But again, I feel like he was unbelievable. Same for Negley. I think the whole team probably walks away with a 7 out of 10 at a minimum, and obviously the three main people were Negley, Femi and Barry. They could walk away with at least a 9 out of that performance. So yeah, it's got to go to Barry Bannon for me.
Yeah, that is it. And that is your 1885 show, voted man of the match, Barry Bannon. Good show, chart. Good end to the season as well, mate. I mean, look, we've not been doing the podcast very, very long, but it seems like we've been going forever with everybody's support. And we're going to be hosting a playoff warm-up for the first time in the Championship in over 2 decades, mate. I mean, we're just, now what else can we say that we haven't already said other than thank you to the Belson family, thank you to JB, thank you to Steve Gallen, to Alex Neil and to the players for installing such belief and for giving us one of the greatest seasons that we'll ever have.
Yeah, again, literally, like you said, it's an unbelievable season. It makes you feel proud to be a Mill fan, and to be right up there challenging with people that we shouldn't be, spending, far, far less and just showing that kind of Millwallness. And yeah, so it's been unbelievable. And obviously, let's hope we can go one step further. And all right, we didn't do automatics, but to be fair, if you would have said to me, if you can guarantee a promotion, well, do you want it? I'd always say Wembley, just because for myself growing up, I've seen us do 4 playoff finals now. And, the love I have for Wembley is unmatched. So if I could have guaranteed it, it would have been a Wembley. So let's do it at Wembley.
Yeah, it's the greatest place to win at, but it's also the worst place to lose at. So
It is.
I've been there and seen both. So let's hope it is. But the guys will be back for the playoff warm-up, looking ahead to Friday night's away trip to Hull City in the first leg of the playoffs. The end of our show. And if you've made it to the end of the show, then you are going to find out how you can get your hands on a signed 2025-2026 home Millwall shirt. It could be a historic one because it could be the shirt that Millwall made it to the Premier League, captained by Super Jake Cooper. To get your hands on it, doesn't cost you anything. All you need to do is just drop a sub. Subscribe to the channel. We're sitting at 595 as this has been recorded. The first goal is 600 with 5 away. So if you haven't already, please drop a sub to the channel. As I said, it doesn't cost anything. We will announce how you can enter once we've reached 750 subs. Now that sounds like a mile away. It's really, really not. We've gone on leaps and bounds since we've started. We've had some tremendous support from the community and from other Millwall podcasts, which has been absolutely exceptional from myself, Charlie, and the rest of the crew. So once we reach our goal of 750 subs, we will let you know how you can enter. It will be absolutely free to enter. You just have to be a subscriber. So with that being said, Char, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, just if you are travelling up to Hull, obviously safe travels and we'll see you up there. And obviously when we come back for the second leg, if we can match anything that we did for the Huddersfield second leg back years and years and years ago, that's probably one of the best atmospheres I've been a part of. So, second leg, let's just get the den rocking and just cheer the boys through to Wembley.
Yeah, no doubt it will probably be shaped up to be probably the best atmosphere that we'll ever be a part of. So pack the den, pack the whole, whatever they call it, the MKM Arena. Was it called now? I don't even know now.
I've just remembered, though, we have to listen to that announcer again.
We're going to have to listen to that announcer, and hopefully he's the man of the match for them like he was last time, because he's extremely enthusiastic. I don't think the neighbours will appreciate him bellowing at that time of night. But, yeah, look, we'll be up there. I'll be up there. Come and say hello. Come see me and Fred. Charlie, I'm sure you'll be up there as well.
Yep.
And then, yeah, look, I just want to say, I guess, off the back of our last regular home game of the season, thank you to everybody. Thank you, as I said, to the Belson family for being a part of this football club, from dragging us out of the ashes into what is, a perennial playoff side. Thank you so much for everything your family's done. Thank you to Alex Neil for giving us one of the best seasons we were ever likely to see, and to the players for all your efforts this season. It's been a remarkable season, and we've enjoyed every single minute of it. As I said, the boys will be back hopefully tomorrow night with the warm-up for that playoff first leg away at Hull City. In the meantime, if you've liked the content, please like, please share, and please subscribe to make sure that you're part of the community and you're in with a shout for that giveaway that we've got. You can find us on all of our socials at the bottom: YouTube, X, Instagram, and Spotify. And we will be back for the cool down, potentially. Me and you, Charles, will probably do the cool down for the away trip to Hull City. But catch the boys for the warm up. That's Charlie, I'm Jay, and we'll see you on the next one.